Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy AI Legends, and today I shall be uploading another series which is going to be What If Boruto and Sarada went to a Naruto What If? Well guys, I'm pretty sure that I'm the first person who is ever going to do this What If. I'm pretty sure that many people will do it in future, but I have not seen anyone doing this type of What If before. So without any further ado, let us start our video. But before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are not subscribed to my channel, then it would be a favor to me if you guys do so, because I'm quite near to 4,000 subscribers and it will be a great help to me if you guys do so. So without any further ado, let us start our video. We shall start our video from the fight of Naruto, Ishiki, Sasuke as well as Kawaki, as Naruto and Sasuke are fighting against Ishiki, who has taken over the body of Kawaki. If you guys have not seen manga, then there will be manga spoilers, because in the manga, Ishiki never took over the body of Kawaki, as Kawaki lost his karma seal. But this time Ishiki was able to do so, as Naruto and Sasuke were beaten up pretty badly, as Sasuke came up with the idea that Sarada and Baruto should go back in time, because there is definitely no way that they can handle this person, and Ishiki has already planted the tree, the divine tree, so that he could get the chakra fruit. So he wants Baruto because of his karma seal to Momoshiki, because in the manga we have learned that they need a sacrifice of an Utsutsuki. So through Boruto, Ishiki wanted to sacrifice Boruto, or you can say the Momoshiki, within the karma seal of Boruto to the divine tree or the 10 tails, so that he can get the chakra fruit. But Sasuke came up with the idea that both Boruto and Sarada went back in time so that they can change things and make things right, as both Sasuke and Naruto agreed with that, as Boruto as well as Sarada were reluctant to it, but in the end they finally agreed, knowing that there is no way that Lord 7 or Naruto and Sasuke could actually defeat this guy, and he has already taken over the body of Kawaki, which is like a brother to Boruto, as he finally reluctantly agreed with that, as Sasuke made a portal for Sarada as well as Boruto to went to Hidden Leaf Village, as Ishiki finally sees it, as he started to attack Boruto, but both Naruto as well as Sasuke started to fight off against Ishiki, as Boruto and Sarada went to the office of Hokage, where they were able to find, the turtle, the time turtle, as they finally activated the turtle. But in the meantime, there was a boom in the village, as both Sasuke as well as Naruto was slammed into the ground, as Ishiki in the body of Kawaki finally emerges as he looked towards Boruto, who has already activated the time turtle, as Ishiki's eyes widen, knowing what that thing actually is, as he rushes towards Boruto. But the time portal finally opens, as Ishiki, you can say, blasted the time turtle, damaging the turtle a lot, but still both Boruto as well as Sarada were able to enter into the time stream, as they started went back in time, as Ishiki started to curse his luck because he has lost the sacrifice of the Utsutsuki, and this timeline has started to differ a lot. Now, to Sarada and Boruto, both of them were going through the stream of time, as Turtle was quite damaged, as Turtle started to give a lot of error, and then there was a boom, as both Boruto as well as Sarada opened their eyes, as they were quite surprised to see that they were in the Hidden Leaf Village of past, as then Turtle finally spoke up and said, well, it seems to be we are in past, but this past is not your past, as Sarada as well as Boruto were quite confused, as Boruto said, what do you mean by that? Last time we arrived here, I remember this is the same place, as Turtle shook his head as he started to disappear, as Boruto's eyes widened, as Boruto said, what is happening to you? As Turtle said, it seems that the Ishiki has attacked him. He has damaged him a lot, and it seems that this is a different reality, different from yours. This really shocked both Sarada as well as Boruto, as Boruto said, what do you mean by that? Which means that we are not in the past? As Turtle shook his head and said, no, it is not your past, but definitely past. And don't worry, things that happened in your timeline will also happen here. But I don't think that your timeline is going to survive, as both Boruto as well as Sarada in tears, as they could not believe that they were given a chance and they royally screwed it up. They were in a different reality now, as both Boruto and Sarada were quite depressed, but unfortunately for them, the turtle finally disappeared, telling them that how badly he is injured and there is no way that he is actually going to survive this, as Boruto was quite depressed at that, as he started to lean towards the tree and started to cry, as then Sarada said, "Well Boruto, what should we do now?" As Boruto said, "What does it actually matters? Our reality is almost doomed and we are in a different reality. I still do not believe it, but still, it is a reality now, Sarada." And Sarada said, "I know that, but what should be our plan? We should stop things happening." As Boruto said, "Don't you understand? This is a different reality. What we do here does not matter." As Sarada got angry and said, "Well, I do not care if this is a different reality. Our father and mother do live here and we can make our lives here if we want. We can save them." As the turtle said, things happened in our reality will happen here, but a little different. As Boruto was still depressed about it, but Sarada, being the next Hokage, gave Boruto a Taku no Jutsu. As Boruto finally agreed with that and said, "Alright Sarada, I will go with the plan. After all, we have to live here. I think we should go to the academy or something like that, or Hokage office. I wonder who will be the Hokage." As Boruto looked back only to see the fourth Hokage's face as he said, "I wonder if my grandpa is still Hokage." As Sarada said, "Well, I do not know. We have to gather information." As both Boruto and Sarada finally nodded at each other and then they finally entered into the village. As Boruto was walking in the village, as a drunk man looked towards Boruto and said, "Hey, demon, why are you wearing that type of clothes?" As both Boruto and Sarada were confused as it was a drunk man, as he started to walk towards Boruto and said, "So the demon has decided to change his clothes. No worry, we shall still beat you up." As he grabbed Boruto from his collar, as Boruto said, "What are you doing, old man?" As one of the villagers said, "Hey, it is not that demon." But as the drunk man looked towards Boruto carefully and said, "You look like him. Why is that? Are you relative to that demon?" As Boruto was still confused about it, as Sarada said, "No, we do not know any demon." As the drunk man looked towards Sarada and then towards Boruto and said, "You do look a bit different. Well, be careful." As he finally let Boruto go, as Boruto was royally confused, as then Sarada was the one who was able to counter some of the situation here. In this time, Sarada was able to activate her 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Well, it should be possible that Sarada should be able to activate her Mangekyo, but since it is from different reality, and I'm pretty sure that when Naruto and Sasuke actually fought Ishiki, Sarada had 3 Tomoe Sharingan, and that is that. As then Sarada looked towards Boruto and said, "Well, we should gather information, alright?" As Boruto was still confused about it and said, "Alright." As they started to gather information, and they were able to gather that it is the era of the third Hokage and the fourth has already died in this reality, even in this reality. As Boruto sighs and said, "Well, I wanted to meet my grandpa, even though it will be a different reality, but still." As Sarada said, "Well, it cannot be helped, and I have gathered some information here. Third Hokage is the leader here, and it has been some years for the fourth to die, almost 12 years. As Boruto said, "Well, which means that my father should be at the age of 12, right?" As Sarada nodded and said, "Well, we should get information about Lord 7th as well as my father to see if they have already graduated from the academy." As Boruto nodded at that, and then they started to spy on Sasuke because Sarada wanted to do so, as well as visit her Uchiha compound. As they were able to do so, and they saw Sasuke did not have a headband, so they were able to find out some information that a graduation exam will be in some time. As both Sarada and Boruto nodded, and then they came up the idea that they should find a way to enter into the academy so that they can enter or take part in the graduation exam and all. After all, even though it is a different reality, things are going to play out, or the enemies are still going to arrive here. So that is that. Now, if you guys are wondering what things are changed here, then it will be shown in due time. So that is that. Now, Boruto said, "Alright, maybe we should visit my father's house as well." As Sarada said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe we should do that." As Boruto nodded at that, and then they went to Naruto's house. But to their surprise, Naruto was not there. As Boruto said, "Well, I wonder where that old man go already." As Sarada nodded and said, "Well, you should not call your father like that." As Boruto said, "Well, it does not matter either way." As Boruto was still depressed as well as Sarada, but still they were trying to cheer up each other. That is the main reason they are trying to act all cool as well as they can change things. But deep down, they're hurting a lot. That is, as Baruto said, well, I do not care. Maybe we should give some time to each other, Sarada. As Sarada nodded at that, because she was quite depressed, as Baruto could see it easily. And then they went to the forest. After all, they have to find some place to stay, and they cannot do so right now because they does not have a lot of money. And Baruto right now is not the son of 7th Hokage, and he's the son of demon for now. So that is that. As Baruto as well as Sarada went to the forest and then had a fire campaign. As then Sarada started to think and said, Baruto, I wonder why does that drunk person, call you a demon? As Baruto finally sighed and said, well, you do know that my father had the 9 tails inside of him, right? As Sarada nodded at that and said, well, I know about it, I have seen that power. As Baruto said, well, my father did told me that people did treat him quite poorly when he was at the young of age, but I did not expect it that they were calling him a demon or things like that. As Sarada said, well, I do not know, but it could be that this is a different reality. So I do not know, and we cannot say much about it for now. As Baruto nodded at that and said, alright, tomorrow we shall find a way to get into the academy. We have a lot to do, even though it is a different reality. I will not let my dad as well as my mom die here. As Sarada nodded at that and said, yeah, I shall protect them, and we should start our training as well so that we could actually defeat that Ishiki. As Baruto nodded at that. Now, within the karma seal, Momoshiki was quite amused at this situation. He could feel his present self in this universe, but not on Earth right now. He was quite amused. He never thought of going back in time. This gave him a lot of idea. He could gather a lot of chakra here so that he could be revived, but he saw that how without the karma seal of Ishiki, he was not developing that easily, and it will took him a lot of time so that he could actually took over the body of this kid. For now, he's going to rest and see, and he will, you can say that, stop the procedure of the taking over the body of Baruto. After all, he wants the immense chakra of all tail beasts, and he has gathered information while he was in the future that the 10 tails was revealed in this reality, and he will take over the body of Baruto when the 10 tails even in this reality will emerge, and he will actually absorb it so that he could get all that power of the 10 tails. Now, that is that. In this time, Uchiha massacre still happens, and that is that. The minor changes will arrive in the future. Now, in the next day, both Baruto as well as Sarada came up with a plan and the names. Baruto will be known as Baruto Uzumaki because there is no way hiding it because of his chakra will give away. But as for Sarada, she will be known as Sarada Haruno because Haruno was not a clan but a family name, and there are many people. After all, it was a family of merchants. So she could say that her family was a merchant, but they got robbed nearby and they wanted to enter in the village, and it is quite possible that they will be allowed. So next day, both Sarada as well as Baruto started to head towards the 3rd Hokage's office. Abu tried to stop them, but they explained their situation that they want revenue within this village. So they escort both Baruto as well as Sarada into the office of Hokage. As 3rd Hokage was there, as 3rd Hokage looked towards Baruto as he thought that it was Naruto for a moment, but he was quite confused because of the similarity between both of these persons. But then he looked towards Sarada and then asked both of them who were they, as both Baruto and Sarada came up with the strategy and explained that how they were robbed when they were traveling to the Hidden Leaf village, and they have entered into the village because they want revenue within the village. As 3rd Hokage looked at both of them and then he finally nodded and said, so you guys want to be the civilians of this village, right? As both Baruto as well as Sarada nodded at that, as 3rd Hokage nodded, as Baruto speak up, well, we have a little bit of ninja training as well, so we were thinking if we can enter into the academy as well. As 3rd Hokage got a bit suspicious about it. This guy is telling him that he has a bit of ninja training, as Sarada was angry that Baruto has to open his mouth. As Sarada said, well, we do not know much, Baruto. As she started to speak up, we can hardly even move chakra, so we have to wait for some time in the academy, right? as Baruto was a bit confused, but then he came to realization about his mistake as Tadokage nodded at that and said, "Alright, I shall allow it, but it will take some time. The graduation exam is already near in 1 month. If you guys can perform those jutsus in the academy, then it is possible that you can take it. Otherwise, you have to wait for a year." As Baruto said, "Well, we can try it." As Sarada nodded, as Tadokage said, "Alright, here are the papers, sign these." As Baruto as well as Sarada signed it, as Baruto said, "Well, we do not have any place to live now." As Tadokage said, "Well, I can give you a temporary apartment but you guys have to give us money when you became actual shinobi or any business you do in this village. We shall cut it in the near future." As both Baruto as well as Sarada nodded at that, as Tadokage said, "Alright, you guys can leave." As both Baruto as well as Sarada went off, and then Tadokage whistled as the Ambu landed. As Tadokage said, "Keep an eye on both of them." As Ambu nodded and went off. As this Ambu seems to be a young in age, as both Baruto as well as Sarada went off. And they went to the apartment, you can say, that Tadokage gave them, as this apartment has 2 rooms, or you can say the 1 room as well as 1 living room and that type of bedroom and kitchen, those type of things. As Sarada did not want to stay in the same room as Baruto. It was quite awkward for both of them, but they have to get along with it, as Baruto has to stay on the sofa, or you can say in the floor. As for Sarada, she will stay on the bed, and that is all. As in the next day, both Baruto and Sarada started their plan that they have to enter into the academy, as both Baruto as well as Sarada took a scroll from the Tadokage and then went into the academy. As Sarada said, "Well, Baruto, listen up. We do not have to show our skills, otherwise Tadokage might get suspicious that we had ninja training, or we could be spy or things like that. I'm pretty sure that some Ambu must be following us in this time." As Baruto nodded at that, as Sarada said, "Then we have to keep our profile low. So, am I clear, Baruto?" As Baruto nodded at that, as both of them entered into the academy. As then Baruto as well as Sarada entered into the academy, as they gave Iruka the scroll. As Iruka was surprised, in the end of the session, 2 new students are actually coming. As Iruka said, "Alright class, we have 2 new students. It is going to be Baruto Uzumaki as well as Sarada Haruno." When they heard these names, they were quite surprised. Haruno's name was that of Sakura, as Sakura stood up and started to scream, "Hey, are you a Haruno?" As Baruto said, "Well, too loud." As Sarada was quite happy to see her mother, so right now she ignored that loud scream. As she said, "Yeah, I'm a Haruno. I was traveling with my family, but my family got attacked by bandits, and I'm the only one who survived," with a sad face. As Sakura said, "Well, I'm sorry for that." As Sarada finally took her seat. As for Baruto, he also took a seat, as Shikamaru was quite confused. This guy seems to be a copy of Naruto, as well as the whisker marks the Uzumaki name, but for now troublesome. As he went off, as Iruka started to give his lectures, as Baruto was quite confused because he could not see his father in this time, even in the academy. As Iruka took the attendance and said, "Naruto Uzumaki," as then Naruto said, "Yo," as everyone. As for Sarada as well as Baruto, they were confused as they looked back to see Naruto in the back of the academy near a window. As Iruka nodded, as no one even noticed that Naruto was not there, because Naruto was quite, you can say, shunned in the academy. So he always used to sit on the back of the academy, but Baruto could swear that he did not saw his father there before, as well as Sarada, because she was trying to look for Lord 7 as well, but she did not saw him there. As Naruto in the meantime arrived, because he has other things to do. As Naruto looked towards Baruto and smiled, and then Sarada, because you shall see in the future. As Iruka said, "Alright," as he started to give his lectures, and then things started to play out. As Naruto one day approaches both Baruto, or you can say Baruto in the lunchtime went to Naruto and said, "Yo, you're an Uzumaki, right?" As Naruto looked towards Baruto and said, "Well, I did not catch your name." As Baruto said, "Well, it is Baruto Uzumaki," as he was quite happy to see his dad after such a long time. As Naruto nodded at that and said, "Well, mind mind joining me in the lunch? As Baruto nodded and then he started to eat. As for Sarada, she was near Sasuke, who was just saying something about Itachi and all, and as for Sakura, Ino, and those type of fangirls were all over him. As for Sarada, she was quite confused that how many fangirls that were near her father as well as even his own mother was a fangirl. It was quite awkward for Sarada, and she did not even saw Sakura like this. As Sakura looked towards Sarada, who was looking towards Sasuke, as she glared at Sarada and said, "Hey you!" As Sarada was quite confused as she said, yes, Miss Sakura. As Sakura said, "How dare you to look towards my Sasuke-kun? Never look towards my Sasuke-kun like this. Sasuke-kun is mine." As she started to praise Sasuke and all, as Sakura had a big sweat drop. Sorry, Sarada had a big sweat drop at the back of her head and said, "Okay." As she went off to Baruto. As for Baruto and Naruto, they were chatting with each other. As Naruto said, "So, your name is Uzumaki, right?" As Baruto nodded at that. As Baruto said, "Well, my family died when I was quite little." As Naruto nodded at that. "Well, even I do not know my family." And that is that. As their conversation was going quite well, as Baruto started explaining that how he has entered into this village and he's new here and he wants to see some places. As Naruto said, "Well, I would love to show you around it, but it would not be the best idea to go around in this village with me. But I shall see you in some time." As Baruto nodded and Naruto went off. As for Baruto, he started to think if this reality is actually that different. He does not see much different here. As last time he remembered going to the past, his father was almost the same as well as the Sasuke. Was not here, but this time he's here, and that is that. As Sarada approaches Baruto and their conversation started to begin like normal. As Baruto said, "Well, I did meet my father. He seems to be same to me." As for Sarada and said, "Well, I did not knew much about my dad or my mom. They seems a bit weird." As Baruto looked back to see Sasuke doing something Itachi and all. As for fangirls were all over him. As Baruto laughed and said, "Well, it seems that your father is quite popular here." As Sarada nodded and said, "Well, it could be that it is a different reality." As Baruto started to laugh and said, "Well, it is a different reality, but we shall see." As both of them nodded and then went off. As they started to train in the team in the ground so that they can improve or showing off that they are actually trying to control their chakra or perform clone jutsu, failing purposely. As the Ambu was watching them, as they could feel their presence thanks to the Sharingan of Sarada, she was able to see that someone was actually following them with a relative large chakra resolve. So she finally nodded at that. Now we have a time skip to the graduation exam. In this time, Sarada as well as Baruto were living in the apartment that Hidokage gave him. As they saw that how Ambu started to follow them and then they finally leave them alone. As this Ambu reported back that there seems to be normal kids and they are trying so hard to perform some clone jutsu as well as jutsus of the academy level. As Hidokage nodded at that because he had to do a bit of research about newcomers in the village if they are actually spy. It is quite hard to believe that when someone came with the ninja training. So it is hard for them to believe it. So right now it is the graduation exam. As Baruto said, "Alright, it is the graduation exam. I wonder what type of graduation exam it will be." As Sarada said, "Baruto, we have already took the Chunin exams and you know it, our level is far above Chunin." As Baruto nodded at that, "It would be easy. I bet I would be the rookie of the year." As Sarada punched him on the back of his head. As Baruto said, "What is that for?" As Sarada said, "We do not have to show our skills. You know that. What would happen? As Baruto sighs and said, alright. As they finally went into the academy. As then Iruka started to make the announcements that how the exam will consist of some parts, the written exam and then the kunai throwing, shuriken throwing, as well as the substitution, transformation and then the clone jutsu. As both Baruto and Sarada nodded at that. Yeah, that would be easy. As the exam finally began, as Baruto easily finished that paper as well as Sarada, she was able to do so. And then they looked towards Sasuke who was writing in quite speed. And then Baruto looked towards his dad as well as Sarada to see if their family has already done, because they does not know much about the graduation exam and what actually happened. As they saw that Naruto had a paper already turned and a bored expression on his face, as Naruto was a bit confused because as far as he remember in all the photos of his father, he always had a big smile on his face. But this version of his dad is a bit serious and this really confuses him a lot. So as for Sasuke, he's a bit more snoring and all, emo shit, those type of. As for they finally finished their exam and then Iruka came up with the paper and said, alright guys, now the next one is Shuriken exam. As Baruto was the first, as he said, alright. As he was about to throw the shurikens and then he saw how Sarada was glaring at him as he gulped and said, alright, as he threw the kunais and then it was 6 out of 10, all of them. As then Iruka said, alright Baruto, you have to do in the best in the next exam, otherwise you will not be able to pass that good. As Baruto nodded at that, sorry, my kunais are not that good. As Baruto started to laugh nervously as Sarada arrived as she made 7 and 8 out of 10. As Iruka said, well done Sarada. And then for the next exam, and then it was Sasuke Uchiha as all the fangirls were cheering as Sarada did not like that. Why? These fangirls were actually following her dad. And then Sasuke arrived as he threw all of his kunais as it made 9 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 as all the fangirls were cheering for Sasuke as Sasuke had a smirk on his face. And then it was lost Naruto Uzumaki as all the people started to laugh thinking that Naruto is going to lose like always. In this time, Baruto as well as Sarada rarely saw Naruto in the academy, but whenever it was the time of attendance, something just pop out of nowhere as Naruto always was there, but in the most time he just vanished from the academy as no one even seems to care about it, as they were wanting to see how strong their father or family actually is. They have already seen how strong Sasuke is, but for Naruto, they barely see him even in the village. As then all of them, all the girls were booing at Naruto, just really shocked both Sarada as well as Baruto. As Baruto said, well, it seems that the old man is not that popular even in this reality, huh? As Sarada said, well, they should give some respect to Lord 7. I think he can do good, right? As Baruto said, well, I do not know if he's being booing that bad. It must be that he's not that good in this reality. As Sarada sighs, well, we have to see it. As Naruto picked up the kunais and then he jumped into the air as he started to spin as he threw all the kunais at once as the kunais started to hit each other. And then it was the bullseye as everyone was utterly shocked as Baruto has his jaw on the ground. Even Sarada's eyes widened. Even they were on the tuning level and they could not do it as Naruto landed in the ground. In the same time, all the kunais and shurikens hit the bullseye as Iruka's eyes widened as he said, well done Naruto, you got the perfect score. As everyone was utterly shocked as Sasuke's eyes widened as Baruto and Sarada saw that how Sasuke was gritting his teeth in pure anger. As then Naruto just simply passed with a bored expression on his face, neutral expression on that as Sasuke was gritting his teeth. And then the next part as Iruka said, alright, perform the clone jutsu as Baruto was able to make 3 clones, the shadow clones, as Iruka was impressed. He did not knew that if it was shadow clones or normal clones. As he said, well done Baruto, it is quite good. You have been able to improve that much in only 1 month. It seems that you are a prodigy after all. As Baruto smiled and said, alright, the substitution jutsu. As Baruto was able to substitute with the chair and then the clone jutsu, he transformed into Iruka. And then Iruka said, well done Baruto, here's your headband, you pass. And then Sarada, she was able to perform good as well as it was time for Sasuke. As Sasuke said, alright, watch this, you dope. And then he performed 4 clones, surprising many people. And then all the fangirls started to cheer for Sasuke-kun, as Sarada seemed to get angry a lot every time these fangirls follow Sasuke. Even Ino was following Sasuke. This really angered Sarada a lot. And then Sasuke, substitution jutsu, he was able to do so, as well as the transformation jutsu, and people started to pass. And then it is time for Naruto Uzumaki, as Sasuke said, be back dope, as everyone started to laugh. As Baruto said, well, it is going way too much Sarada. As Sarada said, well, we just have to see, we do not know much about the past of Lord 7 as well as my dad. As Baruto nodded at that, and then Iruka said, "Alright, Naruto, just make one clone. Just make one, and you shall pass." As Naruto nodded at that, as he make a half hand sign, and then suddenly 10 clones pop into existence, shocking everyone. As Sasuke's jaw was on the ground, as well as everyone, as all the fangirls were cheering for Sasuke before. Right now, they were utterly shocked as Iruka's eyes widened. As Naruto said, "Alright, transformation jutsu," as he made another half hand sign, and then all the clones transformed into different people like Sarada, Boruto, Sasuke, even Hokage, Iruka Sensei, Mizuki Sensei, those type of people, and all. And then Iruka said, "Alright, Naruto, that is wonderful. Those are shadow clones. Where did you even learn them?" As Naruto said, "Well, I got my source." As he smiled. As Iruka said, "Alright, Naruto, just last the substitution jutsu." As Naruto nodded at that, and then he did not even make a hand sign as he started to crawl away. You can say turned into butterflies and then went off, shocking everyone. As Boruto said, "Wow, I did not even see that substitution jutsu before." As even Sarada was quite shocked to see that. And then Iruka said, "Well done, Naruto. I do not know where did you learn all these jutsus, but it is just perfect." As Naruto nodded at that, and then Iruka gave him the headband, and then he took his seat. As Iruka came with the papers and said, "Alright guys, I have concluded all of your result, and this year's Rookie of the Year is going to be..." As everyone was quite shocked when Iruka said Naruto Uzumaki. This really shocked everyone, as Sasuke was in pure anger as he said, "What? How can that dope be the Rookie of the Year? It should be me and Uchiha Elite." This really shocked Sarada as well as Boruto, because they did not know that Sasuke was actually like this, even in a different reality. As Boruto said, "It is going to be awkward." As Sarada nodded at that, as Sasuke said, "Well, I challenged the dope for the Rookie of the Year title." As Naruto sighed and said, "Well, let's see. I do not have time for it. Later." As he started to walk away, as Sasuke gritted his teeth and said, "Huh, you loser, you're nothing but a loser, a dope, a demon, nothing more than a demon." As all the girls started to booing Naruto. "Yeah, Naruto Paka, you demon, accept the challenge of Sasuke-kun." As Sarada Sakura started to scream at Naruto as she started to run towards Naruto, trying to hit him. As Naruto sighs and then simply vanished from the area as he entered into the arena and said, "Alright Sasuke, bring your ass so that I can kick it already." As Iruka sighs and said, "Alright Sasuke, Naruto, it is going to be a duel between you, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki for the title of the Rookie of the Year. Whoever loses shall lose the title, alright? And you can use ninjutsu, taijutsu, whatever you guys want to." As Naruto nodded at that, as Sasuke had a big smirk on his face. "Alright, you dope, it is time for me to show you the power of the Uchiha clan." As Naruto nodded at that and said, "Alright Naruto, bring it." As Sasuke started to rush towards Naruto with the incredible speed as he trying to deliver a punch, but Naruto easily dodged the attack, and then Sasuke moved around with speed and then trying to kick him, but Naruto simply jumped into the air, dodging all the attacks of Naruto of Sasuke. As Sasuke was getting angrier and angrier, as Sarada said, "Well, Boruto, I did not knew that Lord 7 was this stronger than my dad." As Boruto said, "Well, even I did not knew he was that cool." As for Naruto, he started to dodge all the attacks of Sasuke as he started to yawn, as Sasuke said, "Alright, you done it. Fast style, great fireball jutsu, the most useless jutsu in the whole Naruto history, because this jutsu in any part literally did nothing." As the fireball started to rush towards Naruto, Iruka said, "Well, it is impressive. He can make a fireball." As Naruto said, "Alright, now we are getting interesting." As Naruto slammed his hand into the ground and said, "Art style, mud wall," as a mud wall appeared out of nowhere. As Sasuke said, "What? How did you learn that jutsu? It should be me, Uchiha Elite." As Naruto simply vanished from the area as he appeared in the blinding speed. No one saw it as Sarada activated her 3 Tomoe Sharingan in a blink of an eye as she was able to see as Naruto delivered a punch to the gut of Sasuke. As Sasuke's eyes widened as he was in the mid-air as Naruto delivered multiple kicks and punch and then slammed Sasuke into the ground as Sasuke got knocked out. As Iruka said, "Alright, Naruto Uzumaki is the winner of the duel and shall be the Rookie of the Year." As Sakura said, "No, my Sasuke-kun," as she started to run towards Naruto, trying to punched Naruto, but Naruto simply backhanded her as she was slammed into the wall of the academy, knocked out. As Sakura said, what? As Baruto said, it seems that your mom here is only a fangirl. She is not even that strong. I wonder, in the real time, how did she get that strong? As for Naruto, he simply vanished from the area, not saying anything. As then, all the things started to play out. Now, we head back to Sarada, as well as Baruto, as they were training. As they were trying to plan their next move, how they can get actually strong, and they did not expect it things to be like this because it is royally screwed up here. As for Naruto, as Sasuke finally approaches Naruto, as he said, "Hey, you dope," as Naruto was walking towards the training ground, as Baruto as well as Sarada were there, as they started to watch both Naruto as well as Sasuke. As Sasuke said, "I demand you to teach all the jutsus you know, that mud wall and all type. You do not deserve those jutsu. I'm an Uchiha, elite." As Naruto said, "Well, I do not care who you are and what you are, Uchiha or not. But I will not teach you anything or whatsoever, and mind clearing out the space now. I'm going somewhere." As Sasuke said, "No, I'm no Uchiha. I demand you to teach me all those jutsus, and it is not possible for me, an Uchiha, to be weaker than you, Uzumaki, you demon." This really started to piss off Baruto. These people were calling him a demon. He was a savior of all of them. And even Sarada started to get frustrated with the attitude of her parents. As Naruto said, "Well, do you know why you're weaker than me?" As Sasuke said, "What do you mean by that? I'm not weaker than you." As Naruto said, "Well, the true reason you have not unlocked your true potential is because you are being driven by hatred." As Sasuke's eyes widened, as Naruto said, "Well, as long as you do not forget about things like these hatreds and all, you will not grow strong. But I will advise you to find someone precious to you and trying to save him. Then your true strength will be revealed. Otherwise, you will remain as weak as you are right now." As Sasuke said, "Just shut up!" As he started to rush towards Naruto with incredible speed, trying to punch him. But Naruto simply dodged the attack, and then with a single chop to his back, and Sasuke was knocked out. But before he got knocked out, he looked towards Naruto and said, as Naruto said, "Just remember my advice and think about it, Uchiha." As Sasuke got knocked out, as Sakura, Sarada as well as Baruto were surprised that Naruto was able to defeat him that easily. As Naruto picked Sasuke and then simply sent him away to the Uchiha compound and then put Sasuke there and went off. Okay guys, here I will leave this part. Hope you guys like it, and tell me in comments if you guys want the next part or things like that. If you guys want me to make the next part, and don't worry, I will not be making it like this that Sasuke is so weak compared to Naruto or Sasuke is dead. Don't worry, both of them will become friends even in this part, in the next part. As for Sakura, I have to think a lot about it because in most of the realities are what if Sakura is fucking useless and all. Just forget about that word, otherwise I might get demonetized, and that is that. So I have to think a lot about it, how to make Sakura useful in this reality. So okay guys, here I will leave this part. Peace. And if you guys want the next part of it, you guys have to make at least 100 likes and 50 comments, and then I shall make the next part of it. Okay guys, subscribe and subscribe because I'm quite near to 4,000 subscribers, and peace.